See, change is inevitable. So it's never too late to make a difference as an individual. Because we got to do that to become better as a whole. All for one, and one for all.
Good afternoon, Wolfpack. How the fuck are we doing today? Pretty proud of myself. I got everybody tagged within that 30 seconds that the intro song was playing. So I'm making progress. All right, we're gonna get into today. How was your guys' week? How was your guys' weekend? Mine. I tried to do it live yesterday for the podcast listeners. Want to explain what the hell's been going on and haven't been uploading some podcasts for you. Been doing the lives, but for some reason it's program I'm using is not or was not uploading the podcast like it should be. So I got to go back and refix all of that. See what the hell's going on. So, but with that being said, I did try to do a live yesterday. And right in the middle of the live, as I was getting going from the beginning, I had pigs escaping. Pigs escaping their pen that they should have not have been. And the babysitting kids were playing out in the yard. Hold on, I'm doing a quick mic check. All right, we're good. But had pigs escaping, so I had to go take care of that, and that turned into an all-day friggin' project. I didn't get it done until I think I quit about like 7:30ish when it got dark and I could no longer be out there. I wish I would have just went out there and pressed on with the headlamp because I only had a little bit more to go. I was like, oh, I'll just wait till tomorrow. Well, it's raining and it's cold outside today. Hopefully, by the time I'm done with this live, the rain will stop and I can get out there. So, checking stuff, make sure everything's working correctly. But we have few things to talk about. We're going to go through about a 5-6 minute video from Jocko Willink. This I want to give credit where credit is due. From one of the pack members had posted a meme and tagged me in it, and it was Jocko, giving this same speech. Well, instead of me reading it today, I wanted to go ahead and just share the video because he explains it a lot better than I do. So we're going to get into that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about rewiring your brain, changing your mindset, difference between, hold on, I gotta look for it. What was it? Perspective and perseverance. I'm gonna give the definition of those, and then we're gonna talk about something that one of the group members, one of the pack members, have gone or was going through this past weekend, and I had our moderator Becky reached out to me about something else and then kind of said, hey, have you heard from this certain group member here lately? Because they usually post a lot in the group and on their personal page, and they haven't really posted anything here lately. So I reached out, come find out, a few things was going on in this pack member's life. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. And it all wraps in together. But first, we're gonna get started with good old Jocko Willink. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right, but he talks about his viewpoint on when things are going wrong and when things are messing up. It reminds me of the famous quote by Mike Tyson that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So let's get into Jocko's little speech here he's got going on.
Good. How do I deal with setbacks, failures, delays, defeats, or other disasters? I actually have a fairly simple way of dealing with these situations, summed up in one word: good. This is something that one of my direct subordinates, one of the guys who worked for me, a guy who became one of my best friends, pointed out. He'd pull me aside with some major problem or some issue that was going on, and he'd say, "Boss, we got this thing, this situation, and it's going terribly wrong." I would look at him and I'd say, "Good." Then finally, one day he was telling me about something that was going off the rails, and as soon as he finished explaining it to me, he said, "I already know what you're going to say." And I asked, "What am I going to say?" And he said, "You're going to say good." And he continued, "That's what you always say. When something is wrong or going bad, you just look at me and say, good." And I say, "Well, I mean it, because that is how I operate." So I explained to him that when things are going bad, there's going to be some good that will come from it. Oh, mission got canceled? Good. We can focus on another one. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good. We can keep it simple. Didn't get promoted? Good. More time to get better. Didn't get funded? Good. We own more of the company. Didn't get the job you wanted? Good. Go out, gain more experience, build a better resume. Got injured? Good. Needed a break from training. Got tapped out? Good. It's better to tap out in training than to tap out on the street. Got beat? Good. We learned. Unexpected problems? Good. We have an opportunity to figure out a solution. That's it. When things are going bad, don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated. No. Just look at the issue and say, good. Now, I don't mean to say something trite. I'm not trying to sound like Mr. Smiley Positive Guy. That guy ignores the hard truth. That guy thinks a positive attitude will solve problems. It won't. But neither will dwelling on the problem. No, accept reality, but focus on the solution. Take that issue, take that setback, take that problem and turn it into something good. Go forward. And if you are part of a team, that attitude will spread throughout. And finally, if you can say the word good, then guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, that means you've still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack. Good.
So that was I want to thank pack member Heather for bringing that to my attention. She definitely deserves a good old wolf pack howl. Give it to her, guys. Now, she posted that the other day, and it might even have been yesterday. Had so much going on. My brain is trying to catch up. But she posted that and tagged me in it, and it was basically, the transcript, the words to go along with that. And I read it all, and I was like, yeah, that's amazing. And then after thinking about it for a few hours, because it stuck in my brain, I was like, I've heard that before. Like, who's that from? And then I remembered I'd heard Jocko talking about that. And simply put, as he says in there that I try to say all the time is, stop thinking about the problem and thinking about the solution. Stop dwelling on what is going on with you and what is happening to you, and think about, what is this trying to teach me? How do I overcome this? How do I get past this? How do I learn from this? How do I grow from this? All these different things that if you can sit down and think of these answers and stop focusing on the problem that you're having in your life right now, whatever it is, like he says, you lost your job, good. That means you can go out there and find a better job. You go out there and go to maybe a company that that values you more, that pays more, that gives you, more time for you to do what you're trying to do. You know, you you lost your job, good. Maybe that was the push you needed for you to start your own business. Come up with your own new idea. Do whatever you want to do. Because and then that was a good thing. But you turned something that happened to your life, a tragedy, and a triumph. Talked about that a lot here lately. And it all goes into changing your mindset. Changing your mindset and understanding that you can't be stuck in this cycle to where you only focus on the bad things that are going on in your life. You got to be grateful for the things that are going good in your life. The things that, even though something bad may happen, what is that trying to teach you? What is that trying to get through to you? Changing your mindset and rewiring your brain to look for the positives instead of only focus on the negatives. Said that I don't know how many times of, turn your negatives into positives. Don't let your speed bumps turn into a stop sign. Don't let something little in your life or even big in your life stop you from living your life and going down the path that you were trying to go. Uh, there's 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 a lot to talk about this one today. I don't know how long I'm going to be on today. I'm probably going to try and keep it short because I still got farm shit, and we got to winterize the house, which should have been done this past week when it was real nice. But yeah, things. Hey, like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So one of the things, I do want to talk about is we went on a little mini vacation this couple days ago. Wait, hold on. What is today? Wednesday, correct? Yep, Wednesday. So we went on a little mini vacation on Monday. Didn't start planning it until Saturday. It was a spur of the moment thing. Like it just all no, I'm sorry. We didn't start planning it until Sunday. So it was definitely a spur of the moment thing. And we went hiking. We went down to Hocking Hills. If you're not from Ohio, Hocking Hills is a beautiful big ass nature park that, that has tons of stuff to do, to see. It's one of my favorite places to go hiking. I haven't been there. The first time I went there was probably about 6 years ago. And being able to go back there and seeing it in a new light, that was actually where I found my love for hiking. That was, the probably the very first hiking nature trail that I ever done. So, and that all started, 6 years ago. And to go back and just remember everything that I have been through in the past 6 years, and sit there and, think while I'm hiking, of remembering, I was in a different mindset, in a different place, a different relationship, a different spot in my life back then to where I am now. And being in the relationship that I am now. That's so much better. Being in, the mindset that I am now. That's so much better. It's just all the differences and everything that has caught up with me during this hike that we went on Monday, that it just was kind of mind blowing to me. It was something that I just, couldn't understand of how much progress that I have made in life in just a short time frame in 6 years. And going back to the original place that I found my love for hiking when I went on my very first, actual real hiking trip was just mind blowing to me. Was gave me a new perspective on life. And it was like, in 6 years that it just so many things have changed. So many things have changed. So going back to that as a different person with a different mindset, a new outlook on life, freaking all this stuff that I am now, and remembering who I was back then and how I was, and just, the life I lived, and the partner I had, all of that, like, it's just trying to wrap your brain around it was mind-boggling at first. The entire time it was like, I kept thinking about so many different things that have happened in these past 6 years that have led me to where I am now. And it's amazing. It's amazing when you sit back and think about that kind of stuff. So, I want to get into should have done this at the beginning, trying to get back into the groove of things that, even though it's only a few day break, friggin' my mindset's not in the same spot. But I want to talk about, these two things. I should have said this, like I said in the beginning, but perspective. Perspective means, because I had to look at, I knew these words, and I knew, freaking I knew what they meant, but I wanted the definition of them. Like, I wanted to make sure I was using the right words, because I hate when people do that. I hate when people use words that, you got fancy people that'll fucking use fancy ass words, and then they don't even know what they mean. And then you'll ask them, fucking somebody like me, like, using those big fancy fucking college words around me pisses me off, because I'm like, I was like, what was that? What word was that? What does that mean? And they're like, they'll laugh at you, or they're, they'll make fun of, oh, you don't know what the fuck that means, oh, you're dumb. Why don't you look it up? And I'm like, well, why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me what the fuck it means? Freaking, we're sitting here talking about it. You use the word. I don't think you know what that means. I don't think you actually know what it means, because you can't even teach me, somebody that doesn't know that word, what the hell that word actually means. And I don't think you used it right. And 9 times out of 10, fucking, eventually the argument, or the debate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, conversation, will lead into freaking one of us looking it up, or me looking it up, because that person had no fucking clue what the hell they were talking about. But anyways, perspective. Perspective means a particular attitude towards, or a way of regarding something, a point of view. So perspective is basically a point of view. You have we all have different perspectives of how things happen in our lives, and two people can have the same perspective in the same or have a different perspective of how something happened in the same situation. And the next one is perseverance. Means persistence and doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. So, why did I want to, bring this up today? Why did I use these two words? Well, perspective, a particular attitude towards, or a way of regarding something, a point of view. That one is a big one for today, because the little story I'm about to tell you about a pack member that I spoke of earlier. And, the few things that have been going on in my life. So I am once again evaluating and evolving, evaluating myself and evolving and evaluating the situation that I'm in and the things I want to do in my life and the dreams that I have, I'm evolving from it. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? You remember, friggin' about a year ago where I was talking about, me and one of the old pack members in here that's uh a lady that I'd met. We are talking about starting a nonprofit. Well, I was basically being kicked, or I was kicking and I was being dragged, kicking and screaming into doing this. This isn't something I really wanted to do. I was concentrating on my farm, concentrating on this group, and the whole, starting a nonprofit for, mental health and turning it into like a business and doing all these different things. Basically, working in an office, all this different shit. I was being dragged, kicking and screaming because this was not something I wanted to do. Hold on, I got a few comments. Hey Becky, how you doing? Uh so that all fell through. That all fell through. Um it's funny now thinking about it because I've talked to a few people this past, 4 or 5 days, and I have a new perspective on things. I have a new point of view. I'm beginning to look at things a little different in how I want to do some things. Um, Basically, I am now beginning to think about starting a new nonprofit, but not in the way that I was going to do it before. Not in a way that somebody else wanted to do things. So I know, a lot of people kind of understood that, I took about a 3-4 month break during the spring and summertime up into the fall, and I've been doing the whole mental, group. I've been doing, sorry, I was reading the comments, but I was getting back and doing the whole mental health group thing. Well, during the summer, I had almost, given up on the whole mental health group, support group thing. Like, it was like, okay, I want to do farming. This is what I'm doing. This little hobby homestead, hobby farm homesteading, whatever it is, friggin', I'm doing this. I'm concentrating on this because I was stuck inside all winter and, I wanted to be outside, wanted to do shit outside. Well, I ended up talking to an old sergeant of mine that was in the Marine Corps a couple months ago. We had always, we've stayed in contact. We don't talk a whole hell of a lot, but we stayed in contact. Me and him, used to do a lot of stuff in the Marine Corps that I can't talk about. It's not classified information. I ain't gonna talk about it. But we used to do a lot of helping each other out. We'll put it that way. We'd help each other out, especially when we'd done something wrong or got in trouble or, knew we were about to get an ass ripping. But we always, worked as a team together. I'd take an ass ripping for him and he'd take an ass ripping for me for the shit that I do. Like, it was a good team to work out in. But he's a very knowledgeable guy. Very knowledgeable guy. And the sergeant of mine, he's very smart in a lot of different ways, and especially how to get what he wants. By any means necessary. So we were talking, and I told him about this whole mental health group thing I, started. Plus, I was talking to him about, the farm and everything. And he was like, well, look, like, the farm route is where you need to go. He was like, they have programs and they have, different things that they, that they do to, with the farm regarding mental health. You need to look at it, have a new perspective on it, a new point of view. He was like, you need to start something with that. That's where you need it because you can get grants and you can get, funding and you can get all different kinds of stuff. Integrating the farm into this mental health thing that you're trying to do, because there's a lot of people out there doing it, and that helps a lot of people. And back then, a few months ago, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm basically giving up on the farm thing. Like, I'm giving up on the farm thing. I don't want to fucking do this. I can't do both. I cannot do my mic. Something's going on with my mic, I was told. It sounds good on my end. Becky, it sounds good on my end. You may need to refresh the live. I don't know. You're crackling in and out. You're crackling in and out. Ooh, okay. Now I hear it. Now I hear it. Thank you, Becky, for telling me that. Hold on real quick. Okay, is that any better? Hope that's better. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I'm being told it's better. Thanks, Becky. I appreciate that. See why I do so many mic checks? I had somebody, who was it? Jaybird. Jaybird, was making fun of me the other day when we were doing the live together, and he was like, yeah, Rooster does so many damn mic checks, freaking during the thing, and it was like, yeah, that's exactly, and that's exactly why. Okay, I'm making sure it's still going good. That's exactly why, because technology just fucking does not work like it's supposed to. I've not had a plan, or I've not had a problem for the last, couple weeks out of this mic, and then all of a sudden, boom, it happens again. So, and I can't hear myself. So, and that's why I have this headset on using the mic, and I have a Bluetooth in, so I could switch back and forth and listen to, make sure the live podcast. See, it's doing it again. Not exactly sure what's going on. Let me try turning this thing off and turn it back on. No, I think that'll fuck everything up. Is that any better? Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. I do that snapping thing. Wait a minute. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I think that might fix the problem. Okay. All right. Yeah, I do that snapping thing. To make sure, because if not, the problems I've been having with the mics a lot is that it's been picking up sounds throughout the entire house. So I do that snapping thing right there to make sure, like, if I do it over here all the way to the far left. Okay, I love you. Be careful. If I do it over with the far left, I can make sure it's not picking that up. So it's canceling out a lot of noise. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh, okay. The whole talking to the sergeant thing and blah blah blah. So thanks, Becky. I really appreciate that. Glad you were on and was able to catch that. But all right. So to get back into that, he was telling me, all this, and I'm like, yeah. At the time, I was like, no, I think I'm done with farming. Like, fucking, I just think I'm done with it. I don't think I want to do it anymore. Like, I had some disheartening shit happen. I basically wore myself out, breaking my body down even more. Like, it's one of those things that, in my mindset, I'm like, okay, like, look, I'm already broken and everything from the Marine Corps. I've got bad knees, a bad hip, bad back, freaking all this different shit going on with me. Either I do this farming thing and basically, maybe 10, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, I'm going to break my body down so much that am I going to be able to do anything when I get older? Play with grandkids and go, enjoy life and, go on vacations and do all that different shit. Or I do this mental health thing and, you know, and let's be honest, the farming thing is a dying career. Ain't none of my kids interested in this. Ain't none of my kids, fucking, have taken any interest in at all in doing this. So, that's not something, I'll make a little bit of money, but I won't pass, I won't be able to pass it down to, to kids or have anything to pass down, money wise or anything like that to kids because they have no interest in it. Well, or I can do something with this mental health thing. And, I'm 36 years old. I probably got, a good, 20 years left out of me until I talked to a guy yesterday. His name is Tim, and he runs something called a equine therapy. It has to do with equine therapy. Let me look up his actual farm name real quick because I want to give credit where credit is due. So, didn't realize he sent me another email. Give me one quick second. I wasn't expecting to talk about this part right here. But hold on. Let me find it. So come find out I've got a few more emails than I've even realized with. All right, I'm not checking emails. Hold on. Again, one quick second. Sorry. Okay. Here's his name. Nope, that's not it either. Oh, come on. Where's it at? I was just freaking told by this guy yesterday. No, not a squirrel moment. It's not a squirrel moment. I want to make sure because this guy's farm is kind of important with what I'm about to start trying to build. Sorry, babe. I love you. I don't know what my deal is here lately. Yeah. I'm looking. Damn it. Where is the fucking email? Okay. All right. I ain't going to be able to find it, of course. Oh, okay. Here it is. Finally. All right. So it's called Finally Home Farm. Equine therapies for veterans. Yeah. Okay. Finally Home Farm. Equine therapy for veterans. So that right there in the conversation I had with this guy, this dude is a fucking star, an absolute star. Like he was in the military and then he got out and started being a police officer, I believe. I'm pretty sure he was a police officer. I think then at some point he was like a fire chief. Plus he fucking, started this. And then, like this dude just has so much. He said that, he'll do an interview with me and, tell about his story and stuff. All around fucking awesome guy. Cool friggin' guy. The guy is like, I think he said he was 60. He when he started this, he started it 8 years ago. He said that actually November 11th, Veterans Day, was the anniversary of him starting his nonprofit. And so it's been 8 years for him. So he had been like, I think 63 years old when he started this. And I was like, damn, the thing that came out of my mouth was like, damn, like here you are 63 years old and you start, or, here you are, or you were 63 years old when you started this. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm 36 and, I'm getting old, and why start doing some of this stuff? And he was spitting out a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff. And the guy, so talking to this guy, talking to another guy that I know, and talking to the sergeant, all made me start thinking about something. It was basically, why give up something that I do love doing, which is the farm? Because, and this all ties into it. This is why I'm explaining this. It's a different perspective, and, perseverance, like we talked about earlier. Definition of perseverance is persistence in doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving success. So it's given me a new point of view of things, because the plan that started formulating in my head once again, and I know I've got a lot of plans going on, was that if a guy can take a horse farm and do this, why can't I do the same thing that I love? So, like, if you guys remember about a week ago, I think maybe 2 weeks, that I'd gotten on here and I was just so fucking drained and mentally exhausted from doing like 2 days in a row, back to back 6-hour fucking lives, basically. Well, it was like 3 hours one day, 3 hours the next day, plus, and that was with, the Marines that I was doing it with. And doing those, I was just so mentally fucking exhausted. And I was like, you know what? I even tried to get on here and do a live, and it like lasted like 10, 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm sorry, guys, but you could just hear it in my voice. I was tired. I was drained. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting off here. I'm just gonna end this one. I'll try to get back on and do one later tonight. And I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go do something that, friggin' I know don't require a lot of thinking. Because that's what this whole, podcasting is. It's just mentally fucking exhausting. So I'm gonna do some physical work. Went out there and started working on the farm. And for the first time in months, and maybe even longer than that, I realized, and it finally dawned on me again, why I'd love doing the farm so much. Why I loved being out there and working with the animals and just working on the farm and everything, period. Like, it hit me and it dawned on me. Well, fast forward, and I was like, and I've been talking about giving things up. I've been talking about, just like, look, I can't do both. Like, this takes me fucking, this mental health podcast and live, and, helping people, and, hopefully getting into speaking and all this. This just takes hours and hours and hours out of my day. I don't know, see how I'm going to be able to do both. Well, then, after, these last few conversations I've had in the last few days, I'm like, holy fuck. I'm sitting here, because I was thinking about, friggin' selling off the animals, or even giving the animals back off, or, selling, you giving them to somebody else, shutting everything down and being like, okay, this is what I'm going to concentrate on. And my girlfriend was trying her hardest to talk me out of it. She was like, look, I know you're trying to do this. I know why you're trying to do this. I know, friggin' all this, but when it hits springtime next year, you're going to be miserable and you're going to be pissed off at yourself that you have to start all over once again. That you start all over, and because you're going to want to be outside and you love doing this, you're going to want to do this. Like, I don't think this is a good idea. And, well, having a new perspective on this, a new point of view, talking to these other guys, I come up with a new thing. And it was like, well, if I love doing this, and I'm talking to all these nonprofits, maybe I can do what this guy is doing with this farm thing. And maybe I can combine the two with this horse farm thing, I mean. And maybe I can combine the two, the whole mental health thing and my farm. And having people that has, mental health issues, they can come out, help me on the farm, learn some stuff, learn how to grow things, learn how to, friggin' work with animals. We can talk while we're doing this. Friggin' it can be a little, like therapy session. The one guy that I talked to, Ed, not our Ed, but a different guy. with the VSO and stuff. He talked to me about the whole peer recovery support thing that, the government is, trying to get, more people into doing. And it was like, I could tie all of this together. And the guy that I talked to with the horse farm yesterday told me that exact same thing. He was like, you can tie this. I'd went and done that class. That's how I met this, this Ed guy, and I did all this. And that's how I tied all this together. Like everything I've done, it's all ties together. So it was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I think it's a really great idea. I think you need to pursue this, and you need to think about this more and do it more. That, combining the two. He was like, because then, then I started thinking, I was like, well, I could get these nonprofits that I'm talking, to, because that's exactly what he does. He has therapists and doctors and other nonprofits and other organizations and all this different stuff that he goes and actually speaks to, because he's, into speaking. And he goes and speaks and tells the story and tells about his farm and tells about all this different shit. He goes and talks about all this and how it's helped him, and does actual speaking for corporations, businesses, gatherings, conferences, all different kinds of stuff. And it was like, holy fuck. It dawned on me, like, I can combine all of this into one, and I don't have to give up both of them. I don't have to give up something that I really love doing. That's, a hobby, and, something that I that keeps my mind busy, that I love doing, just for this other thing. I can figure out, and it can work together. It can work, intermingle itself. Like I said, I can start having, people come and they can help me on the farm, and we can talk, we can bullshit, we can, everything like that. Because the thing I noticed about the farm the most is that it quiets my mind. And I don't think about other shit when I'm out there doing something as mundane as putting up a pig fence, or fixing a fence, or feeding the animals, or, weed eating, or, doing this other stuff. I don't think about a lot of other shit. It's just my body just does it. So there's no room. I have to think of I have to think about what I'm doing and doing, right now. Like, there is a little bit of thinking, trying to figure out different things, where to put posts, and, how to, where to put, put the next pasture for the animals, all this different shit. There is a little bit of thinking, but it's just like, after a few minutes of thinking, it's boom. All right, work. And then after that, there's not a lot of thinking like what this is. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, you get people into doing hands-on stuff, working with getting back to nature, and working with animals, and providing for yourself and providing for your family by growing your own food, and doing all this different stuff. You get a sense of pride and sense of joy and sense of, what's the word? Usefulness. Because, what's the opposite word? Like, friggin', I'm thinking about, people feel worthless. So what's the opposite word? Somebody in the comments tell me, what's the opposite word of worthless? I can't think right now. So that's something I'm going to try and start working on. I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't know where it's going to go, but all this different stuff has intermingled with itself. And I thought it was like, just mind-boggling, fascinating, that holy shit, like, I just basically did one big ass fucking 360 in the past 6 years. And that's why I explained all of that with the hiking and everything. In the past 6 years, I just did one big ass fucking 360. But I did it all with a new point of view and a new perspective. And I've had so much perseverance going on that we're going to go back to that definition again. Perseverance, persistence, and doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving a success. It's taken me 6 years to get to this point, because now I have a new perspective on it, and now I have a new point of view, and I'm looking at it different, and it's like, holy fuck. Before, when I started this whole farm journey 6 years ago, I had this big extravagant dream that I was like, hey, I'd love to, be able to teach people this kind of stuff. I'd love to be able to teach people bees. I'd love to be able to teach people, friggin' how to run pigs and gardening and farming and, chickens and ducks and all this kind of different stuff that goes along with this. I'd love to be able to teach this. And I had this extravagant plan that I was like, all right, like I'm going to plant fruit trees and I'm going to plant, friggin' herb gardens, and I'm going to do all this different kind of stuff. And then, I'm going to invite people over and they can see it and they can pick their own stuff and do all those different things. But then I got on this mental health journey. And when I got on this mental health journey, I was so focused on this, and I was so focused on, trying to help people and do all this different stuff that it combines. It combines itself. That now I'm looking at it and having a different point of view because somebody else is doing it. That somebody else, another person, hooked me up with this person and was like, yeah, I guess equine therapy, like the horse therapy, is scientifically proven. Like scientists, like legit doctors and therapists, like, fucking legit done a study about how equine therapy can help veterans and other people of working with animals and doing this different kind of stuff, how it can help people with their PTSD and their anxiety and their depression and all this different shit, all these different mental illnesses that people have. It can help them. And it was like my mind was blown. It was like, holy fuck, like, wow, like I didn't know all of this. I didn't understand all of this. I was like, so you're telling me like I can combine this. And the beauty of already, friggin' coming up, like, okay, so my farm name, I gave it a name few years ago. It was it's Valentine's Farm. Valentine's Farm. And Valentine stands for or represents my stepfather. Represents my step up dad, because he stepped up when I was 2 years old and started taking care of me since I was 2 years old. So for 34 years, this man has been my father. And even when I had my biological father and in my life, growing up, I still got the I got the pleasure of having two dads. Two totally different people that, friggin' gave me different things from their life. And this man stepped up when I was 2 years old and met my mother, or when he met my mother and had this, 2-year-old little brat like me. He stepped up and became a bonus dad. And the man has never, ever once treated me like I wasn't his own blood. He's always treated me like I was his son. And, I say he still treats me like that. I mean, he came over here and helped me, build this deck that, that I was working on and taught me how to do this. Like, he's always been there for me. Always, fucking makes sure, he knows, fucking, or that I know that he is my son. And to honor him, I named my farm after him. And the slogan was, or the motto, was, a product you'll fall in love with. I made it work, right? Like, okay, the honey and the eggs and the pig and the chickens and stuff, I came up with my own little motto, was a product you'll fall in love with. And then now I was talking to the equine guy. I sent him the email, and hold on, let me pull that back up. It better still be there. So this was basically what I'm thinking now. Hold on, let me find my exact wording. Okay, so I told him, I said, I have a small 3-acre homestead that I would love to have people come out and talk about their issues and help them fall back in love with themselves by helping themselves grow while helping other things grow. So I'm starting to intermingle it together, and basically with this whole Valentine's farm thing, I want to start basically like, helping you fall back in love with yourself and helping you grow by helping other things grow, by teaching you to grow other things. And that's going to be the Valentine's farm motto, maybe. I still got to work on it, but that's going to be the gist of it. When you come out here, I'm going to help you fall back in love with yourself. I'm going to help you grow while you're growing other things. While you're falling in love with, yourself, you're growing other things and learning different things. So I have a new whole plan with all this. Like, I did not know this was possible. I never thought about it before. I mean, I've heard of other people do this kind of stuff, but I didn't know I could link it with friggin' the whole mental health thing. So it's like holy shit, I can combine the two things that I love and the purpose that I have. Because before, if you heard me talk about before, that was like I can't do both. I can't do both. I have to give up one for the other because it takes up too much of my fucking time. It really does. But does it really? Or am I just having poor time management? Am I just not focusing on, one thing at a time? Because honestly, friggin' this, if I done this whole mental health thing and this whole mental podcast, thing, it, friggin' takes me a couple hours, 2-3 hours, an hour to set up, an hour to do, and then about an hour to turn around and turn it into TikToks and podcasts and stuff. 2-3 hours of my day. Well, if I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, friggin', I bust this all out and do this for 3 hours, then that leaves me 11 o'clock, eat lunch around noon, 11 o'clock to noon, eat lunch, and then what? And then friggin', if I work, till fucking 7 o'clock that night, 6 o'clock, that's 6 hours on the farm that I can get shit done. All about time management. But my perseverance, again, persistence and doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving success. And the reason I keep bringing this up is because this all combining all of this is fucking possible. Nobody can tell me that it's not. Because there's other people out there that work fucking, a full-time job and still have a hobby farm and still do this shit. There's plenty of people out here that still work at doing this and they find time. There's a guy in Greenville that I know that he has a full-time job and he has meat chickens, he has pigs, he has cows, he has a garden, he has all this shit. And he does all of this when he gets off work. Before he goes to work and when he gets off work, he still has a full-time job. If he can fucking find time to do the shit, I've talked about that before, right? Use the weekends and your time off, not just for leisuring around and relaxing. You should be using your time off wisely to help you build your future, not building somebody else's future, not building somebody else's shit, not making somebody else's dreams and goals become true by making them rich. You should be working on yourself on your time off and yourself on the business you want to do or goals and dreams that you want to catch. So it's one of those things that's like, holy shit, like it's possible. It's possible. Now down the line, who knows? Because I still want to speak. I still want to speak. I still want to do that. But if this is like considered some kind of therapy, and just like the dude, what the horse farm was talking about, he goes and speaks all the time. He goes and speaks and does quite a few things. So I could still do that. Maybe not as a grand scale that I was, dreaming of before, but maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe maybe I build this thing up this nonprofit up or farm or whatever the fuck it's going to be. Maybe I build this up and I have people working for me, and that while I'm out there speaking, while I'm out there doing different shit. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? You know, maybe the whole speaking thing will kick off from this, and I develop something else with it. But you never know if you don't try, right? You never know if you don't fucking adapt and overcome, evaluate and evolve. Doing all these different things, like something's bound to work. Something is going to finally click. So I also want to get, okay, that's enough about me today. But I also want to get into something that a PAC member was dealing with over this past weekend. In the last few days too. So probably about the past week. So good old moderator Becky, she pays such good attention to this group that so I don't have to. It's one of the things I really appreciate about her is that I don't have to constantly be on here, because I've, try not to be on social media as less as possible. But I come to her and I was like, before, and I was like, hey, since I can't get you to get the fuck off social media and I can't get you to stop fucking, mindlessly scrolling and shit. This was, a couple years ago or a year ago or whenever, me and her had this conversation. I was like, hey, since I can't get you to get the fuck off social media and leave it the fuck alone, and you're always on it, would you do me a favor of moderating the group and pay the fuck attention for me? Would you be able to sit here and, monitor the group and be like, hey, this person just posted this, or I'm worried about this person, or this person ain't posting. That way I could friggin', do my own thing and be out there and I have somebody watching it. And then she could message me and say, hey, this is what's going on right now. I think this needs your attention, because I can't be on there 24/7, right? And I got, not just her, there's a few people that were doing it, but Becky does it the most for me. And she reached out to me yesterday, and, it was about a whole different subject, but, she was like, hey, I do want to bring up to your attention too. Have you heard from this one PAC member here lately? And I was like, no, I haven't spoke to her. Like, what's going on? And she's like, well, basically, this PAC member posts a lot, not only in the group, but on her personal page too. She posts a lot. And for the last few days, she has not been posting at all. Kind of worried about her. I was like, okay, well, send her a message, check up on her. So I ended up sending her a message too, making sure and checking in with her, make sure everything was all right. And she ended up messaging me. This PAC member ended up messaging me back and was like, yeah, I've just been in a bad mindset lately. I, kind of fucked up myself. Like I have some things I needed to, to handle. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I understand that. I was like, if you need to talk, reach out. And if you're not comfortable talking to me, you can talk to Becky. If not, there's a few other people. So she ended up calling me. And we had a conversation. And basically what was going on, speaking of the devil, she just, showed up. I'm not going to say her name, so, to keep it private. But speak of the devil, she just showed up just as I'm about to talk about her. But she was going through some shit. And the things that she was going through was, basically had stuff to go, going on with the father of her children, plus one of her children. And she's been through a lot here lately. Well, something you may not know about this person is that she is a recovering addict. And I believe I'm saying that right. She's a recovering addict. She has been a recovering addict for 5 years. 5 years. And I believe that for 5 years of being sober, that definitely deserves a good old wolf pack howl. Very proud of this person for being 5 years sober. And even more proud of her for the thing that almost happened. I believe she said Friday. So a few days ago, almost happened. She has some very stressful things going on in her life. Some things that just was a little hard to handle. And with everything going on, she almost I don't know how to word it. She almost started using again. Now for the pack members that do know this person, she had posted like a week or two ago, I think a few weeks ago, and was asking advice. Basically, saying, "Hey, I've been sober for 5 years, but this person that I know or used to know that I used to use drugs with, they are now popped back into my life. And back then, I tried to, help this person get sober while I was getting sober and offered them a way out and all this different stuff. The person, chose to, keep using. Well, 5 years later, they're now back, come back in my life saying that, that they're just got out of rehab, they're getting sober and this and that, and this pack member was asking for advice is like, basically like, what do I do? I have this funny feeling that something's going on and it's just a gut feeling that something's wrong. And, this person's reaching out again. I want to help them, the blah, blah. Very, very, very big thank you to all of the pack members that helped and gave advice to this other pack members that was asking. And a lot of it was the same. It was a lot of them, a lot of them were telling this pack member to be careful, listen to their gut, not let this person drag them down and go back to, using or anything like that. So, and this particular pack member has listened to me for so long and listened to the lives and been part of the, the pack for so long that, they're like, oh, I already know what, Rooster's going to say. I already know, his voice is in the back of my head, telling me, not to be a dumb bitch and telling me, this shit's fucked up and, not to be stupid. Well, I got on there and I was just like, I kind of gave, the little bit. I was just basically, I told this person to be careful, to watch out, look for signs. If they can help, but don't let this drag them back down. Don't let them, destroy all the progress they've made. And so the one thing I didn't say is I didn't tell this pack member strictly and out front not to do this and to leave this person alone. I didn't tell them what, basically to stop doing this. I wasn't trying to be a controlling person, and I did it for a reason. Because I could have sat here and said, look, don't fucking do this. Don't go down this path. Don't try to help this person. I don't think you're ready to help this person. I don't think this person has the best intentions for you. I don't think this person, is even telling you the truth. This person is sitting here saying that they just got out of rehab. I don't think they're that far into recovery where you can help them. I don't think they're even fucking serious. I think you should, run. Look at all the red flags. It's not a fucking circus. It's not a carnival. You need to fucking run as far as the way you can fucking get. Don't fucking do this. I need to say none of that. Because one, I didn't want this person feeling like, like she was doing something wrong. I didn't want this person feeling like they couldn't or wasn't capable of not being able to help somebody that was in the same situation, because that's what we're all trying to do here. We're all trying to help, other people that, been in the same situations we have been. That's what this whole fucking group is about, is, learning that you're not alone and that you're stronger than you think. And also, I knew if I would have come back and said everything that I just told this person not to do, if I would have told this person not to do it, there was one or two things that could have happened. This pack member could have said, "Oh, fuck you, Chris. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'm gonna still do it. I'm stronger than you think. I can just do this, and I'm going to do this." And that would have, turned them into, maybe trying to prove me wrong and going full force into it, no matter what the fuck happened. Or two, I don't say none of that. Give them a little bit of, encouragement, give them a little bit of advice, and let them do their own thing. So two, they could learn their own lesson. Because I could have been that voice, and I think this person would have listened to me if I would have, absolutely put my foot down and been like, gave them the cold hard truth. Don't fucking do this. I think this person would have listened to me. I think this person may have actually dropped that other person. Maybe. Only she could answer that. But I think this, person would have really listened to me if I would have done that. But I didn't do it. Second reason, and the reasoning why, and she just commented and said, yes, she would have listened. And I told her this yesterday when I spoke to her. The reasoning why I did not say for you not to do this and that I had a bad feeling and to do all this is because I needed you to learn this lesson. I needed you to experience this. Because if you didn't experience this and you didn't learn this lesson and you didn't follow your own path, then you would never been able to learn what you needed to learn to come out of this. So to go on with the story, Friday night came and she was having such a hard time dealing with all the stress going on with her life. She told me that she literally had a pill sitting in her hand, sitting on her bed, and was going to take it. She was falling back down that path of using again. That her mind kept sitting there telling her that she was that basically this would be okay. That this little pill, this little, drug would make everything okay again. Her mind was trying to tell her this. And thank God, or whatever the fuck you believe in, because I don't push beliefs on everybody, and I don't just believe in one thing. I believe in a lot of different things. But thank God, thank the universe, thank Allah, thank Buddha, thank the fucking nature, thank fucking whatever you believe in. But thank God that her, I believe, 8-year-old son walked in to her bedroom at that very moment she was about to talk herself into taking that pill. Because if he wouldn't have, then she may have taken that pill. And then all that sobriety, all that hard work, all that shit, everything she had worked for would have fucked up everything. And when her son walked in, she was like, what the fuck am I doing? What in the holy fuck am I doing that I just about fucked up everything by going back down this path and dragging myself down this path that I used to be in? So we're talking about this, and the thing she kept coming up with. So I'm gonna go back to the word we were talking about before: perspective. A particular attitude towards or a way of regarding something, a point of view. So her perspective was, and this is, goes in a mind, or going into changing your mindset, rewiring your brain, not letting a speed bump turn into a stop sign, not, turning your negatives into positives. Her mindset was, while we're talking on the phone, she was like, I'm just so disappointed in myself. I'm just so, upset with myself that, I've been sober for 5 years. Why is this still in my brain? Why is this still, something that I wanted to turn to? I about fucked up everything, and I'm just so disappointed and upset with myself that I almost used again. This shouldn't even still be an issue. It's been 5 years that I've fought and battled with this. And I said her name, and I'm not going to say her name now, fucking for the podcast listeners, all this, friggin', I'm not going to give her name out like that. Confidentiality. But I said her name, and I'm like, look, you're looking at this all wrong. Your perspective on this is all wrong. Your point of view on this is all wrong. I was like, regardless of the excuse, and she went to say, she was like, I know, there's no excuse for this. I said, no. Listen, regardless of the excuse that you're using right now, that regardless that it was your son that walked in on you at that very moment, regardless of that excuse, you didn't use. Why in the fuck are you sitting here beating yourself up for something that you didn't even do? You didn't do it. You didn't use. You were able to stop yourself because God knows, fucking, and she knows that 5 years ago, even if her son would have walked in that room, 2 minutes later, she just still freaking took that pill. Even it may have been even a year later, 2 years later, she may not have been strong enough to fight that urge and to fight that feeling and to fight that addiction problem that even if her son would have walked in that room a few moments later, it could have been a year later, and maybe it would have been a day later. 2 years, it would have been 3 or 4 days later that she still would have used. But miraculously, she didn't. So why are you beating yourself the fuck up about something that you didn't even do? Something that you was able to have enough control out of yourself, regardless of the excuse, regardless of, fucking this happening. You still haven't used. It's been 4 or 5 days later, and you still haven't done it. So why the fuck are you beating yourself up? You need to look at yourself. You need to change your mindset and rewire your brain and have a new perspective on this and look at this and say, I am now strong enough that I actually did not do this. I am now strong enough that I kicked its fucking ass and I could control myself. And because of the excuse that I had, that my fucking own son walked right into my room, that I was able to stop myself, and I'm still stopping myself. Why are you not looking at it that way? That all the progress that you have made in 5 fucking years just friggin', showed you of how strong you are. That you are stronger than what the fuck you think you are. That you are stronger than what you were 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. That you were able to stop yourself and not do this. Don't beat yourself up about this. Congratulate yourself. You need to go in the mirror and fucking high five yourself and tell yourself what kind of badass you are. Tell yourself that, all the progress and all the triumph and everything that you've, been able to overcome. You need to remember that you used to be in a spot that where fucking you wouldn't have even hesitated or second guessed about taking that pill, whether your fucking son walked in or not. But now, 5 years later, you're sitting here fucking, mad and upset about yourself for what? For what? You didn't do it. Yes, you had the temptation. Yes, you had the urge. Yes, you had all this shit going, but you didn't do it. You should be proud of yourself in this moment. You should be fucking ecstatic. You should be fucking excited. You should be fucking, whooping and jumping and hollering for fucking joy. That you were able to overcome this moment, because that's what the fuck you were working so hard for. You weren't working so hard to get sober and to stay sober. You were working to the point to where you would have that moment, that very moment right there, and there's going to be many more moments. I've heard, from recovering addicts that, 20, 30 years later, and they slip up and have another drink or they use another drug. 20, 30 years fucking being sober, and they fucking have a weak moment and boom, they have to start all over. I've sat in Alcohol Anonymous groups with a friend of mine That was an alcoholic that I was trying to help at the time. I would go to the meetings with them so they didn't have to be alone. And I would sit there and I would listen to these members say, I was sober for 15 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. And I had a bad moment. I had a bad day. It fucked me up that bad that I just couldn't do it. And I had a weak moment and I took a drink, thought I could be able to control it. I thought after, 15, 20, 30 fucking years, I'd be able to control this. That I could just take a drink, or I could, take a shot or whatever. And it was no. This thing still had a fucking hold of me that I didn't understand. And they had to start all over. And I heard a few of them say, I went on a drinking binge for 2 or 3 months. And I was able to snap my way back out of it. And a recovering addict is always recovering every day. They have a motto in there that I love. That it's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. When you don't think you can't, you can't see the big picture, you can't see, being 5, 10, 20 years fucking sober. They have that motto. You take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Excuse me while I go over here to YouTube and oh no, do not do that. Do not do that. So I need to go over here to YouTube really quick and ban this spammer that I got that's in the live right now, posting some dumb shit, some fucking sexy videos. Where is it? Wow. Top chat. Live chat. There we go. There it is. There you are. Thank you. I appreciate you coming over here and spamming my shit, because that lets me know that I'm doing good shit. You hush. You hush. Hold on. All right. There we go. There's that. Okay. Thank you. Get them the fuck out of here. All right. Okay. All right. I'm back. Yeah. Oh no, you don't. Bye-bye. Yeah. I almost exited out of the live and tried to go through YouTube. That I had to open up another friggin' thing. But anyways, sorry for that interruption. I say I'm honored because that's a step up. Friggin' I got spammers coming into my YouTube channel trying to fucking spam while I'm going live. That's a fucking step up. That means I'm catching people's attention and they're out there trying to fucking spam. So it's awesome, but it's not. It's awesome, but it's not, right? It's all about your perspective, how you look at things. So anyways, they talk about one day at a time. And you can use this for mental health too. One day at a time. And, because the bigger picture is harder to look at. Even with catching your goals and your dreams. We've talked about this before. Take life one day at a time. What can you do today? What can you do right now to help you get to where you want to be at? I know there's a group member, and I'm not picking on this group member. I want her to understand this before I go into talking about this. I'm not picking on this group member, but she's overweight. And, the doctors have literally told her, if you do not fix this weight issue in a couple years, you're more likely going to die. 2 years is a long time. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years is a long fucking time, right? To think about. And I'm talking about the other pack member too. And I'm talking about people in general with mental health, obesity, friggin', drug and alcohol problems, fucking all of this shit. This motto from Alcoholics Anonymous can be used for all of it. If you just take things one day at a time. Don't worry about the fucking future. Stop dwelling on the past, the mistakes you made from the past. Work on today. What can you do today that's going to help you lose weight? What can you do today that helps keep you sober? What can you do today to get your mindset right and to change your mindset? What can you do today? One day at a time. And then I heard this, to go further in this. I heard one of these people talk at these, Alcoholics Anonymous program. And I heard them talk and say, if you can't do one day, then do 1 hour. If you can't do 1 hour, then do 1 minute. And if you can't do 1 minute, then do 1 second. That's how you get to where you need to be. 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. And then that day becomes 1 week at a time. And that week becomes 1 month. And that 1 month becomes 12 months, becomes a year, and then 2 years, and then 5 years, and then 10 years. You get where I'm going. Take it 1 day at a time. And if you can't do 1 day and you're in that very moment, take it an hour at a time, a minute at a time. Understand, though, that it's all about your perspective. The way this pack member was looking at it was big picture. Was basically, I almost messed up. As I kept telling her, yeah, you about fucked up, but you didn't. So what are you mad at yourself about? You had the urge and you fought it. You won. You won that battle. What the fuck are you so upset about? You should be congratulating yourself and telling yourself how fucking awesome you did. How much of a badass you fucking are. You should be standing there in the mirror and saying, holy fucking shit. Because if it would have been a year, my year in or a month in, I would have never been able to beat this. Looking at it, it's the same thing too, of the other pack member we were talking about, of losing weight. 1 pound at a time. That's all you got to think about. 1 pound at a time. 1 pound at a time, and how to keep that pound off every day. Thinking about that. So, to wrap up, because we're going an hour and 22 minutes. To wrap up, and the pack member that we've been talking about is she gave herself a high five in the mirror this morning. Good. See, and she's listening. Because I told her to do that yesterday. The Mel Robbins technique. The high five habit. Doing that. And high fiving yourself in the mirror. Not fucking, hard as fuck. Just a small little tap. Go back and listen to that episode where I did, with Mel Robbins. Or go look her up on YouTube. It's a short, 5-minute video that you can listen to. She explains to it the science behind it all, everything. And then, there's an even longer video that talks about, for an hour and a half that she does an interview with. It's a very fucking good habit to learn. But high-fiving yourself in the mirror and congratulating you, because how many times do you do that? That little battle right there that she had, that fucking, she didn't lose the fucking war. She won that battle. The war is continuous. The war will never end. But you can win the battles going over and over and over again. So this person actually says, let me know what's weird. I haven't had narcotics in my house, and I found that pill in my fucking room. I think it was a test, really. Yeah. It probably was. It probably was. Who knows? But to start wrapping up, you guys, changing your mindset and rewiring your brain to find the positives and the negatives from, redirecting your path, from going on, not beating yourself up from the mistakes that you made or may have was going to make but didn't make. The very fucking point in all this is, and it ties back into, the perspective of the whole farm and mental health thing and everything like that. It's your perspective. It's your point of view. Look at things differently. Look at things in a new way that you normally wouldn't look at it. And watch where life takes you then. And be grateful. Be grateful that you had the power and the strength and the commitment and the courage to not go back down that path from all the work you've done. All the knowledge that I've got now, I'm kind of understanding more and more where my life and where my purpose is supposed to be at because of all of this work I've done over the last 6 years, starting from the Hocking Hill trip. There's a whole another story about that we ain't going to go into, but starting at the stressful fucking, great, good trip 6 years ago to how my life has changed and going back to that one spot, going back to that place and learning all the mistakes I've made, remembering all the things that I've done right, remembering changing my life, period, to where when I walk back into the same exact place, the same place, that I was a different man than I was before, that had a different mindset, a totally different person, that I had done a complete 180. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. So I'm going to get off here now. I hope you all have an amazing day. Start today, one day at a time. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. And always remember 2 things. You're stronger than what you think, and you're not alone. Peace.